Hey guys, Murray Valeriano of the Road Stories podcast here. What's happening? I hope you guys have a great week. Hope you guys had a great week. Two real quick announcements, one quicker than the other. The first one is I had so much fun doing this episode of Road Stories that I didn't even do an introduction. We just turned on the mics and got rolling, and I forgot to introduce our comedian. So on today's episode, you will hear Ian Gutoskie sits in on the co-host seat. It's always great to have Ian in when I have a special guest. He helps me move the show forward. He's a great guy. Check out his stuff online if you can. And my special guest today is Adam Ferrara. Adam has been killing it on the scene for a long time. The guy is one of my favorite comedians out of Long Island. I'm so stoked to have him on the show. Been trying to get him on for a long time. And of course, you know Adam from Nurse Jackie, and he was on Rescue Me for the longest time, and right now he's just killing it on Top Gear. So really, really funny guy. Check out his stuff, and of course, listen to him today. And the second announcement is, of course, the Los Angeles Podcast Festival coming up in just mere weeks, my friend. Mere weeks. As I suspected, or maybe that's not the right word. My guest was supposed to be Greg Barrett, and sadly, we all know what's going on in Greg's life right now. He lost his awesome sister, Kristen Barrett. We rocked the comedy scene. It really did. Everybody loved Kristen, especially me. So due to those circumstances, Greg is not going to be able to be on the podcast at the Podcast Festival. He sends his apologies, and we're going to schedule him to get it on a regular episode within the next couple of months. So Greg's always welcome on the show. Totally understand. Greg, you do what you got to do, and we're with you. Now, having said that, who could I get to replace one Greg Barrett? Who could fill the shoes of the King Sweater himself? I can only think of one person. Will Anderson. Will Anderson will be the guest on Road Stories at the LA Podcast Festival. I'm super stoked. I love having Will on. I've had Will on before. He's hilarious. He's so funny. Obviously, check out his podcast and his stuff online. And I might see if I can get a couple other Australian comics to come in and sit in. We'll talk about the road in Australia and the road in America and the differences there and all the fun that goes along with that. Now, remember, you can live stream the festival all weekend. Just go to LAPodfest.com, go to live stream, put in the code ROAD, get $5 off. Get $5 off, and you can watch my show, you can watch the rest of the festival, and you can watch it up to 30 days after. So let's say you're staying up and you're watching the Murr on the Road Stories, and you're like, it's time to go to bed. You can sleep 29 days and still get up and watch the festival. So go to LAPodfest.com, watch the festival. It's hilarious. When you watch it live, I get people tweeting at me, so don't forget to do that. Tweet at me, shoot me messages. If you have questions, we'll talk more about that. But seriously, live streaming, it's so much fun. The first time I did it, my phone was blowing up from people literally all over the world watching, asking questions, making jokes, questioning my sexuality, which is always hilarious. All right, so that's it. Go to LAPodfest.com, put in the promo code ROAD, live stream the festival, and I'm looking forward to meeting you guys who are coming out, and I'm looking forward to seeing the guys who've come out before and are back again. Was that confusing? Probably. Until then, here's a question.
You want to know about life on the road? It's
booze, tacos, angry dwarfs, strippers waving guns, and fees, fights, canceled flights, running with the runs, and blacklists, bounce checks, great a bachelorette, drunks in the front making out for your set, and middle acts doing blow more, missing merch, and drive the rental car past another mega church, and juice keys, vagina fist, your cell phone is gone. One big Law and Order marathon.
I opened for a hypnotist there. And the guy couldn't put anybody under.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. But you got to hypnotize people in Brooklyn. It's a two-man job. One guy waves the watch. The other guy hits him with a hammer. So he's on. I did a half hour warm-up, and then I brought the hypnotist on. And I was a kid. I was just starting. and he couldn't put anybody under. There's people sitting up there going, "Oh, geez, I hope I don't drop off and act the fool in front of people." They're heckling the guy trying to put him under. And Rocky's jumping up and down. He's going, "Kid, get back up there. Kid, do something." So they pull him off stage. I got to go up and do another half hour or so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I was his favorite after that because I saved
Because
the
you
show.
saved his ass.
And so on Friday nights, the Late Show, all the guys would come in with the girlfriends, and they would sit there and you would do your act. And the lady got up and went to the bathroom. And I did a joke about my girlfriend yelling at me and turning into a pterodactyl or something, like, whatever it was. And he's like, and the lady comes back from the bathroom and she's sitting there, and all of a sudden the guy says in the middle of the night, goes, "Do the bird joke again." I went, "What?" "Do that bird joke again. She missed it." I go, "Sir, I can't go." He's like, "Do the bird joke again." Here's one of my favorites. And I did the joke again. And the guy came over and he shook my hand at the end. And he's going, "You're very funny. Made me laugh. Thank you very much." He shook my hand. And there was a perfectly fold $100 bill.
Yes.
Like origami. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but it had the 100 on an angle. It's like he does this every day. He just shook my hand.
The Frank Sinatra approach to tipping.
It was great. And the rule of thumb was if the guys liked you, if the boys liked you on Friday night, they would come back Saturday night with the wives. So they bring the girlfriends there on Friday Late Show. And Saturday come, and you don't say anything like "nice to see you again." You don't say shit.
Right.
You just do your show, and you
Would they still laugh as hard as they did the first
yeah,
time?
they're just
They loved it, or they just and they got to keep it up too.
Yeah. Was that Toppers?
That was called Toppers Comedy.
When was that?
It was on Cropsey Avenue, right by the announcer was, "Welcome to Toppers Comedy Cabaret, conveniently located right across from Caesar's Bay Bazaar." Big Bazaar.
I remember seeing
I think it was Exit 5 off the Belt Parkway. It's
Wow.
not there anymore.
No,
it was
that was-
underneath a Circles gym or something.
Early 90s? Late 80s?
No, this was early 90s.
When did you get started?
July 13th, 1988.
Wow. I can't.
Wednesday
Remember the
night,
first day.
open mic, East Side Comedy Club, Huntington, Long Island. It's now a Pomodoro restaurant.
You started super young.
Yeah. I got out of, I just got out of college, and I told my parents, "Well, we've done one of your things.
Right.
Now I'm going to try one of mine." But I didn't, college was fun for a while. Like I was playing your guitar back here. I was in a band in college, a bar band.
Where'd you go? Did you go to Long
I went to
Island?
Marist College in Poughkeepsie.
Oh, yeah. My wife went to Vassar.
Oh, okay. I was just Vassar. We used to play Vassar.
Oh, yeah?
And try and sleep with rich girls. That's what we did.
Rutgers over here.
Rutgers, there you go.
No. I'm trying to be part of it. I'm sorry. I lied.
didn't go to Rutgers?
I didn't go.
Wait, what
I just
happened
wanted
to
to be.
my-
I wanted to be part of everything, and I'm a high school graduate.
Let's
but
go
I'm
back
proud.
to Vassar rich women. What happened to my wife's money?
Really?
if she was a rich girl.
Yeah, all the rich girls went to
I
Vassar.
thought all the lesbians went to Vassar.
Well,
no,
there's
the gay
that
guys.
too.
All right. We have a lot to go through in therapy, my wife and I.
Boy, yeah, she's not rich or a lesbian.
Not rich or a lesbian. So there's an open mic in Poughkeepsie.
There is?
There was an open mic in
No.
Poughkeepsie?
I would
Oh,
come
right.
home. Here's what happened. I went to college and I was in a band, and you have those friends when you first year of college, you drink too much and you're away from home. And it was for me, it's like you make these friends like, "Oh, I'm going to have these friends forever," and then you sober up your second year. You realize, where did this weight come from?
Yeah.
He's a drunk. He owes me money. What the fuck? So I would go home. Every weekend and work. I was working in at a fence company. I was digging holes and putting up fences, and because I always worked. I always had a job, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't need to get drunk every friggin' weekend."
Right.
And I have no money. So it was a 2.5 hour drive from Poughkeepsie to Long Island, where I was from. So I would drive home and do 2 days of work, and then drive up on Monday morning to make my afternoon class Monday afternoon that I never went to. I always left to go there, but I would get to go, "I'm tired. I just fucking drove 2 hours."
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
go to sleep, miss the class. So that's what I did every weekend. I went home, and I would always see the comedy club. And I was like, "Yeah, I got it." I saw Pryor when I was a kid.
Wow.
I went to, not live, I saw him, went to, those parties you go to with your mom and dad where you get the warning in the car where your mother turns around like, "Now your father does business with these people. Don't behave like an animal." So we go in there and they're all watching Richard Pryor at a Santa Monica concert where Patti LaBelle opened for him. So the adults go in the next room to get the coffee. I rewind the tape, I put it on, and it just blew my head off. I didn't think I wanted to be a comic, but I was just profoundly moved. I remember saying, there's no one in the room, and I just remember saying, look what this man can do.
Yeah.
They didn't even introduce him. He walked out and grabbed the mic and just started riffing. He's like, anyway, I like this part. Hello, yes, hello. I like when everyone comes back and the white people find out the black people have done taken their seats. Yeah. And he just started going. And I was hypnotized when he did the black guy and a white guy walking through the woods and the heart attack bit. And I was like I said, I didn't really say I wanted to be that, but that just moved me.
How old were you?
I was a kid. I was 12, maybe.
That's a crazy thing. For me, none of those guys really affected me. Like Carlin,
you know why? Because you're dead inside. That's why.
Well, that was the crazy thing. Is like those guys, Carlin, Hicks, and Pryor, I didn't get until I was 30. That was the weird part for me. When so when I hear somebody 12 that connected to the vulnerability of Pryor, it's
it was the pathos that got me. I didn't understand a lot of it. Like I didn't understand.
You just
what
knew it was something
saying,
special.
But it was just I just felt connected the way he was holding that audience, and he was just watching
the command of him.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, I don't think I could consciously process what was going on, but I remember going, being transfixed by it and feeling like this is important. I didn't know why or what it was, but I just had an awareness like this is important.
Well, you know how you said that drive where your dad turns around or your mom turns around and says, "This is." People your dad works with, that was every morning on the way to church for me because my dad was a preacher.
Really?
So I didn't get
Kenneth's father was a preacher.
Yeah, Kenneth's father. I wasn't allowed to watch anything. So I didn't discover that stuff until the 90s when I stared looking into doing stand-up and stuff.
Your parents still with us?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Have they forgiven you?
Not when they see the new hour I'm working on.
Yes. One of my favorite jokes ever written, Murray Valeriano has in his act.
Have they seen you work?
They have. It's funny you should mention that. I got a letter, an email from my old Sunday school teacher not too long ago, who found an old clip of me. I used to do this bit about. And when I wrote it, I thought it was amazing. And now it's old, and I think maybe I wasn't the first person to do that. But I used to do a bit about being that my dad was a preacher. If I was gay, I'd date a black man just to make sure the heart attack killed him. You know? And that's up online, and I can't get rid of it or anything. And and the woman wrote me. She's like, "Hey, Murray, how are you? I haven't talked to this woman in 20 years. How are you? I just want to say, I'm going to read it on another podcast. So I printed it out right behind you, but I got to do it for another podcast. I got to save it. Anyway, I just got
I am thinking I'm special.
You were dead wrong, Adam.
You are Adam Ferrara, who I don't even think I introduced.
Yes. Did we bring up your name?
I was I
don't think so. We just started talking.
No, I think by the cadence of his voice.
Yes.
You should know this is Adam Ferrara.
So anyway, I didn't get into
Shame on you.
I didn't get into all that Hicks and all that stuff till the 90s, man. And then I was just
then it's like mind blowing.
Ravenous, man.
He was
once you get into it, you're just like,
and
what are these guys all?
You watch these guys work, and I worked with Hicks. I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I was a kid. I was hosting at Governor's Comedy Club on Long Island.
That might be the only club still left, right?
No,
I apologize. I left the door open because it was hot today and there's flies in here.
Yeah.
I like flies. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Right, that one
you can have mine. It's pissing me off.
I don't mind.
I was hosting the show at Governor's, and Hicks was there, and I did a joke in the middle because you would do 10, 15 up front, and the middle guy does 20. You do 5 because people want to get up and go to the bed. So that's when we would do it 5 in the middle, and then you bring up the headliner. So Hicks is there. And I did a joke. I forget what joke it was, but he gave me a tagline. He watched me work,
wow.
and he gave me a tagline. I remember something about a dolphin. I forget what it was, but he gave me a tagline for the joke. And I'm like, holy shit, not only did Bill Hicks watch my set, but he thought it was funny and tagged it for me.
Wow.
And then I was smoking cigarettes then. So we were outside, we were having a cigarette, and I was picking his brain like all the other comics. Cut to, I'm out in L.A., MTV half-hour comedy hour is shooting out here. And it was on, for some reason it was on a lot, so I was outside having a cigarette. And Hicks not only came up and remembered the joke. He went,
wow.
Hey, Adam, how are you, man? You still doing that bit? Is the tagline working for you? And I'm like, this is like 2 years later. And I was like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That
was great.
And just to be acknowledged by him.
Sure. How did he do that weekend?
He did one of the fun. He died at the end, but they didn't get it. But I was sitting there going, "This is fucking genius."
Yeah,
it's like you're watching, you're listening to Mozart, and you're going, "There's no cowbell." Like what the fuck?
Usually jazz, I've always said it's just like it's a thing that doesn't work in stand up sometimes. Where like jazz is a thing, you listen to it and you're like, this sucks. Then you see it live and you go, I get it. Yeah. And that was something that didn't. Now it's almost the reverse, where people like I drive Uber. The amount of young people that get into my cab and always go to Bill Hicks as one of their favorites blows my mind.
Oh, really?
His videos out now are like moving people. It's incredible.
Well, they always were. When he like the bomb, when he said like, we got a bomb, like a smart bomb that could just direct to a house. Why can't we just put food in people's
bananas?
mouths?
Bananas.
That. And when he was called to testify for watching porn, Mr. Hicks, were you of something? And he did that. And Manny at the show world, they subpoena me. I mean, just watching him work is just—it's a masterclass. When I
may or may not have been at a Patriot missile site last month when I was on my tour of the Middle East, and I may or may not had done Bill Hicks's bit about what's this one do?
Yeah.
With the missiles. The military may or may not have not liked it. Well, but then some of them may or may not really like
Stop
it.
touching the buttons. Hey, is that the guy that married the black man just to kill his father?
Well, it's that crazy thing too. Like whenever I write with people, I always go like, they go, well, you can't attack the crowd and blah blah blah. Like even like Carlin said, make it about we, not you. And I'm like, who didn't give a flying shit? Yeah. Was Bill Hicks. Yeah. He's like, you're wrong, and let me tell you why. Yeah. And that's what made him the force
I
he
would
was.
see him. I remember I saw him stand up New York when I was the club in this city, because I'm a Long Island comic. I started on Long Island, and I didn't go into the city until I was ready. Because
really, you could just stay and work in Long Island. Get enough
this
work?
was in 88. You know why I worked as much as I did? Right? I had a car.
Oh yeah,
that's why I had a car, and my father instilled responsibility. So I was always on time. The car was full of gas and it was clean. Right. So I knew that I could drive the headliners in New York, because I was working for a guy named John Schuler when I first started. He used to book Connecticut, all these shitty rooms in Connecticut. They were bars, they were one-nighters. But it was when all the bar owners found out that comedy was cheap to produce. So they paid you right out of the register.
Yeah.
So all the New York comics that would work the bar rooms didn't have cars. So I would pick them up. I was on time, and then I would drop them off. But we'd meet at the Improv when the Improv used to be on 44th. So I'd pick them up at the Improv, and I'd drive them home, and I go, hey, where do you live? I've got a car. I'll drive. And I would drop them at their door. So they would call up and go, yeah, I want to work with Adam, because I took them home. And I had the stage time, and I learned. I kept my mouth shut, and I learned. And I would watch these really good comics just fucking die, because you're not working. It's not... We'd call them Tonight Show comics. They were suit and tie comics. Yeah. They would set up, punchline, segue, set up, punchline, segue. You can't do that at a fucking bar. You can't do that. And even on Long Island, I'm very animated, and there's voices, and I'm using the whole stage. It's like Lion Tamer with a whipping chair. I'm going to get your attention, and I'm going to keep it. Yeah. And then the check spot comes out, and there's that famous story of I forget who the comic was. The story's been told so many times about shooting stars in Yonkers.
I don't think I know it.
You know the story about
I might know the story. I don't know.
I forget who the comic was who did it, but the way I heard the story is there's a guy on stage, Late Show Friday, shooting stars in Yonkers. Right. And he's on stage and he's dying. And he's looking at the crowd. He finally goes like this. He's like, I don't care if you guys laugh. I've done this on TV. I know it's funny. And from the back of the room you hear, he's wounded. Let's get him.
Never show weakness.
Yeah.
Speaking of weakness, have you gotten in any fights lately?
For me, I've been clean. I'm going like a different direction these days. I'm out of the.
We just met Lucy Splain. What?
Ian has a track record of getting into fights with audience members.
I have a track record of being jumped or being escorted out of clubs. And like a couple weeks ago, I got jumped in Vegas and shit, and got into a ruckus there. First time I've ever been jumped ever in my life. I've gotten close because I started in the South. I started like Orlando. So like I was doing Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, Virginia, and bars. Because I was had a bad drinking problem, so like I was on the move really quick in my career.
The colors are beginning to come through. I get jumped a lot. The poor man. Well, I have a bad drinking problem.
I don't drink anymore because I had to clean that shit up because it threw me into the D League because I was like working nothing but nice clubs. Then my drinking got in the way, and then
the judge thought it was a good idea if you stop, right?
Okay. And a couple of stints in the mental ward
about the drunk comic getting demoted from the good clubs to the bars
scene.
Maybe not the best part for a drunk.
Well, here's the thing about the road and again, my father's voice in my head. Learn from your mistakes. That's what a smart man does. Wise man learns from somebody else's fucking mistakes. But I've seen a lot of guys, man, just
I'm telling
in
you,
a bottle or end up at the end of a needle. You don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's an easy job to do that way.
They give it to you.
Yeah, you're around it constantly, and then you're in a business where like you live and die on each set. The set goes bad, where's the bottle? Set goes good, where's the bottle?
That's the whole. When you connect when you connect what you do to who you are, you're fucked.
You're fucked.
And
correct.
it's like, and that's one of the lessons I had to learn.
Sure.
Is not to have your identity wrapped up in which is tough. I mean, there's a whole reason we're in this fucking business is the instant gratification and the validation and that adrenaline rush when you get the laugh.
It's its own drug, man.
Yeah, and I remember when my first acting gig, my first single camera acting gig without an audience. It's a single camera, and I do the show, land the joke, and the director goes, "Great, cut, moving on." I'm like, "That's it." Where's the applause?
Yeah.
Where's the somebody needs to love me now. I have problems.
I need instant validation right now. Somebody laugh, applaud, give me a medal.
My intro should be: our next act has a void in his life he fills with the adulation of strangers. Please welcome the approval junkie himself.
I did the same thing. I had a small part in a movie, man, and I laid the joke and it didn't land, and I literally just went, "What happened? What
do
happened?"
I do?
Right? I wasn't, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna keep going."
This is how this works.
This is how this works.
But that's a hard thing, man. And knowing how to separate that, or knowing that first you learn you have to separate.
I think isn't that like the journey when people say there's always that thing about 10 years in comedy where like you spend so much of your time trying to make other people laugh and other people validate you. It takes 10 years before you figure out that you're like, oh, you shouldn't really care that much, and you should try to do more of what like you want to do with your time up there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you
like in a sense of like, don't placate to the crowd. Write the shit that you want to talk about and make it funny and go from there. Because I think my first
you can write what you want to talk about, but you also got to figure out what you want to say.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like it's finding yourself of like, what am I doing up here, and what do I want to do with this?
I've never seen your act. You observational or confessional?
I do like a lot of stuff. I mean,
it's
like
usually
UFC.
drunk. You can't understand.
You can't understand.
It's like UFC with punchlines.
No, like I do more like I get like social commentary. I talk. A chunk of my act is about talking about my experience with mental illness and my times in mental wards and shit.
So you've been on the inside.
I've been on the inside a few times, my man.
He just got out. That's why I had him.
Just like I need some daylight. You know, you can't leave me alone
now
with my
for
belt.
you, I'm fascinated because I'm fighting this shit every day. You know, you fight. You know, there's I think I haven't figured it out. There's the creative side. I'm not manic depressive, but there's that I get panic attacks.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I was talking about that and trying to deal with that, and I don't know if it's inherent to our personalities why we do what we do, because the amount of depression I go through to get to the euphoric, you'd think I should be there should be a lot more fucking money. Because
isn't that the thing? Like, I mean, this is just like a rough go. That's what I was telling Murray is like my direction now is like I'm looking at other forms because I've gotten clubs that won't book me now because like at the end of my act I tell like a story about immortality and about what life should be, and it's not funny, and it's 5 minutes, and clubs are like, I'm trying to sell mozzarella sticks, asshole, get out of my club. So I understand that. So I'm like, now I've got to like I just finished and been working on tirelessly my like a presentation, a lecture that's I take my stand up and I take my knowledge of what I know of depression and what I've done to like fight it and combat it and overcome it and what the causes are and put it into an hour-long type thing for colleges and for other things. You know, to kind of put and one-man shows now.
Yeah.
So
I went through the same thing you did and I boiled it down. Here's the thing. First, you read Sun Tzu, The Art of War, know the terrain, know the fucking terrain. I'm doing my just know where and what you can get away with. I push the boundaries in clubs now because I wrote my one-man show. It's my next special, and there's a part about my dad dying, and just you have your instincts tell you when to push them, when to bring them back. So I bring them all the way down, and I bring them back. But don't just keep a little bit. It's like chocolate mousse. A little bit is just fine to make your point.
Yeah.
So, and it also helps you understand. For me, anyway, I don't know about you, but it helps you understand. If you can explain it in a sentence, then you know what you're talking about. If it takes you 5 fucking minutes to make a point, the idea is still out here. You got to bring it in.
You got to bring that.
I did, and I found this in my third special. It's called Funny as Hell, and my dad got diagnosed with chemo. He got diagnosed with cancer. We had to go to chemo, so I wrote a joke about chemo. It's on YouTube, the chemo joke. And I bring them way down about chemo, and then I bring them back up, and I get an applause break at the end because you have to build that tension into what you're saying, and then you have to give them the release. So don't be. You can take them there. Don't leave them there too long. Your instincts will tell you how to bring them out. Give them the release, and then it's going to be like a slingshot, and that slingshot's going to be the applause break. and it's called the chemo bit. And after I finish my special, it airs, and I get a call from Professor. I remember his name. He teaches for NYU and Yale, and he asked if he could license that bit to teach, the comedy writing.
Really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, cool. We'll put that chemo bit on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
I'll get that off.
That's interesting.
How many
I'm
specials?
blanking on Eddie's last name. It's Professor Eddie. I got to remember his name, and I apologize.
That's all right. I'll try, if we remember it, we'll say it, and if not, I'll put it up on the Facebook page with the clip.
But that's what I mean. I tried to make the point because it's what I wanted to say. Because you got to realize if you're taking them to a place they're not going to laugh, you're kind of breaking the social contract of the evening.
How many specials have you done?
3. I'm working on my 4th.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah. I haven't done an extensive tour. Like right now, I have a couple months out on the road. I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, really? Oh, great.
Well, I've been working. I went from Rescue Me. When Rescue Me ended, I got another gig called Top Gear, and so it was that the end of Rescue Me was the beginning of Top Gear. So I rolled right into that.
Nice.
And then while I was doing Top Gear, I was doing Nurse Jackie. So those 3 things coincided. Where
how long's Top Gear's been on forever? How long's
we did
keep going
6
too, right?
seasons.
Wow, that's great.
And Rescue Me was 4, and Jackie was 2. So I haven't been on the road as a full blown comic for a while. So
are you looking forward to getting back to it?
I am. It's when you get away from it and you come back to it. You come at it with new energy, and you come at it with like when I look at stuff now, I'm like, oh fuck, like, you'll do the morning news and they'll find a clip, and I'm like, oh, I remember that joke. Okay. But you come back to it because you've grown as as a person. The nice thing was I'm still want to talk about the things I talk about, so it's like it's that's nice. But there's fresh eyes and new energy.
Where are you headed off to?
Where am I going? Where are we now?
This is California.
Oh, we're in California. I'm going back to New York. New York. I got Jersey. I'm at the Stress Factory.
Oh, I got
Stress Factory.
I'm at Vinny's joint.
How is Vinny? Uncle Vinny's.
Great. Vinny Brandt.
Vinny Brandt.
So I'm doing
Factory.
that Stress Factory. I'm doing. I got a Vegas date. My tour schedule is up.
All right,
I know
we'll get to that.
I'm doing a performing arts center in Pennsylvania. I'm doing a casino in Saratoga. So it's like we were talking about. Know the environment. Yeah. Like I want to work on my special, and it does have emotional changes to it. It does tell a story. There's a narrative in it. I'm not doing that Late Show Friday in Jersey. Are you fucking crazy? I'm not risking that. We're doing 45 minutes, and I'm just going to stay on top of you. Keep dancing. Don't give him time to breathe.
Keep dancing.
Do you know what happened? Do you have the story on what happened to the Rascals in Orange?
The brothers?
Yeah.
I know they licensed out those Rascals Comedy Hour in the 80s with my mullet. That pissed me off.
Everybody had a mullet.
I just assumed they went out of business.
I heard they went out for questionable bookkeeping.
I'm stunned.
That's all I was looking for.
Out of Jersey?
Don't worry about the accounting. If it don't add up, that's why we do it in pencil.
That's all I was looking for. So how many clubs were there out in
when I started?
You were going.
When I started on Long Island, there was Eastside Comedy Club. There was Chuckles in Mineola.
Oh, near Honda of Mineola?
Near Honda of Mineola. There was the Governor's, which is still there. The Brokerage, which is still there. And there was a place way out east called Konkama Comedy Club. That was in Lake Ronkonkoma.
Oh,
and then they had the bars we used to do. We used to do, Cinnamons, and it was called Top of the Town. You could go and do a bar set at 11 o'clock.
My buddy Chris Frangiola is from Lake Ronkonkoma.
Lake Ronkonkoma?
Comic Ronkonkoma?
Ronkonkoma.
I can never say that.
It was the Konkama Comedy Club, and they spelled it all with K's. I'm like, the KKK, you fucking idiots! You didn't see this.
Rethink that.
Well, with the comedy rule of threes and K's are funny, the KKK should be hilarious.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes good sense.
What kind of shady characters?
A bunch.
Back then, I know. I grew up in Jersey.
There was a bunch of them. You'd hear stuff like at all these clubs, like, "Hey, you're funny. Stick around. We're not going to pay the band." But there was one guy packing out this story about packing out the cigarette machine. Comic goes to get paid. He's like, "Look, I know you owe your money. You're a funny guy." He's packing out the cigarette machines. We didn't do as well as we liked to. Here's $50, and what do you smoke? Well, I remember at the end of it, like at the end of the '80s, and I was a kid. Goes,
when it started falling apart?
Early '90s, I think it was, and the club owners would come to you. You want to get paid in green or white?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I'll take the green. Give me the cash.
Yeah.
I can buy my own. Cocaine.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, all right. And I was never really, thank God I didn't have that if then go to statement in my head.
Right.
So,
Well,
but yeah, you can, like you say, you got to be careful out there because the lifestyle is conducive to. We'll give it to you. You drink for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like in the 80s too. Is that it was?
I was
full
at the very
boom.
end.
You're right at the end of the boom.
I started in '88. When I say started, I just haunted open mics for like 6-8 months, and then I got an agent, and then I started working. I had a day job.
You get an agent inside of a year.
I did. Well, I got lucky because they saw me at the club. It was the guy that booked the club. He was there.
Oh, all right.
So I got and I was cheap and I had a car. So and he
Reliable.
So I would show up and it was a job to me. I was very serious. I still am to the point where I got notebooks of shit that are never going to see the light of day.
Oh man, you ever lose your notebook?
What? I got tons of them. How many do you want? I got them all over the place.
I know, but I lost my notebook like, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I was just like, oh man, I hope my name's not in that.
Yes, because you find I don't want people finding this shit.
Yeah, I had that happen at Flappers of Burbank where they're just like, hey, Ian, we have your notebook. I'm like, oh, shit.
We know it's yours. We saw the skulls and crossbones.
Because no matter what, I can put notes all day on my iPhone, but they're just like, I'll write this out full form a little or a little more formation in a notebook.
I have to start with my notebook. I have to start, and I have a cheap fountain pen, and I have the notebooks I like because it's like it just connects to me that way. So I'll write it, and then when I start working on it, I got to move this here. So I got a lot of arrows. I don't like the computer, but it is convenient. But I don't like typing.
I'm the same way.
This is going to sound stupid, but it loses feeling.
Yeah, there's no romance to it.
You know,
there's no. Da Vinci didn't have an iPad. A fucking notebook.
You don't have to swipe right.
He was making art.
No, it's true. There is something too. Like there's notebooks under my thing where like I've got some of those like those Mead 5. I've only had it for 3 years. It's full. I'm even scared to like go back and look at it right now. It's like I've got so much going on. I'm just like one day I'm going to crack that bad boy back open because there's like a good 4 or 5 ideas that you're just like I never put this on stage and this is a good idea, but Bill Clinton is not in office anymore. No, there's always those jokes where you're just like, oh shit, I never did this, and these are like good ideas. That's why it's just like sometimes those books.
It's the whole story, the quantity and quality story about the guy. You get they give you 50 pounds of clay and they split up the people. Say, listen, you make as many pots as you can, and you'll be judged on how many you make, and you make one perfect pot. And the people who just kept making the pots won both. You won because you've made so many that you keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Start making
one is perfect, so you keep doing it. One's going to be perfect.
Oh, that's
but you got a lot of shit. Is that going to hold water? No, don't use that pot.
That's like infinite monkeys, man.
Yeah,
infinite monkeys. If you put an infinite amount of monkeys in front of an infinite amount of typewriters, they'll eventually type Shakespeare. Really? Nothing? I shut the fucking show down with that. You guys spent 20 minutes on fucking mental illness, and I shut the show down on that.
With infinite monkeys. I'm thinking...
The only thing that was in my head was just like a pile of typewriters and like all these monkeys kicking around, and I'm like, they're going to create Shakespeare?
I'm thinking, how are they going to hit the space bar? They don't have a thumb.
I think they just use that one big. If you teach one type, it's the one
the prehensile
finger.
tail. That's what they'll do.
Point.
Just boom, boom, boom. Eventually, one will. I've never heard that monkey before like that. I love that.
All right. So, what do you think's changed since when you started and where it's at now?
The best thing for me is the way I can record my sets now. I fucking knew how to record those little. First, I had those little micro cassettes. Then they sucked. Right. Then I found a small one with a big cassette because I could play it in the car.
Oh, right,
on the way home. But the sound was so fucking awful.
Yeah.
Now I got a great and app. It's iTalk because it has a big timer on it.
iTalk, I use that constantly. It's the best ever.
It's best because you can see it on stage. Okay. So now I
what I do. I take that.
Point, and I put it right on stage. I used to like the mini discs because you could put a track mark in the mini disc and go right back to a joke and all day. Because when you're on the road, you just focused on working. After you do your press in the morning, you go back, you take your nap. Call my wife, tell her I love her, get up, go to the gym, and then my headphones are in all day listening to the act to take advantage of the stage time. So I put the track marks in and just go to that one section, just push the button.
Man, mini discs.
I had the cassette recorder that was the size of a cassette.
Yeah.
And it had the red button for record. And I remember I must have told the story 1,000 times on the show, but I was sitting in the back of the Laugh Factory with me and my buddy Chris Frangiola, just from Blank Ronkonkoma. And we're in the back, and we're watching this guy just eat it on stage, man. Just eat it.
God,
You're like, oh, this guy blows. This guy's never. I can't believe they're even letting him on. He's never going to last. This guy sucks. You want to get out of here? Yeah, let's go. Don't forget your recorder. That's not mine. Oh shit!
It's the
rewind, record.
That's funny.
Guys, is there not something beautiful going to like open mics and watching them suck? Like, I find that there's something so like that connects me back to the open mic days when you go to like certain shows and there's like new people or something and they're like sweating and they're all over the place and nervous, where there's something like really
like a
nice about
energy?
seeing that. They're nervous and like they're sweating and they're having a hard time.
I just want to go to them. I go, relax. I just really want to look, relax.
There's this guy's like last week and he was pacing around and he goes, I'm like, what's up, man? He goes, it's my first time. I'm like, here's the important thing. This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's all you got to remember going up. This doesn't matter. Whether those people like you or don't, they'll forget about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just go up and fucking do the shit you did and just really try to like enjoy the moment. Because that's all you really can do in this. Because this is like, if you keep with this, you're just going to have thousands of these moments.
Well, that's because I think going back to what we were saying before, our value is connected in how well we do. You know, your actual fucking identity is connected on how well you do. Yeah, remember when you were first starting out and you have a shitty set? I mean, you just can't. I was a mess, and you got to get back on stage immediately.
It's like getting hit with a pitch. If anybody played ball, the next time you get up to that plate, the only thing you're thinking of is, I hope I don't get hit with a fucking ball. That's what's in your head, and that's what I think comedy is like. When you have that bad show, you're like, you've got to get back up.
Even when you're having a bad set, you'll go longer because you're like, oh no, I'm not leaving with this.
Yeah.
I've seen pros, long-standing guys. I'll put the name out later that went far and beyond their headline set. And they caught a little bit. I'm like, okay, get off stage. You've been doing this for 34 years. And he's like, no, I'm not there yet. And kept going and going and going. And I was like blown away. Because this guy like I really like and really respect, you know. And I'm just like, dude, come on, you got to pull the emergency brake, man.
You got to keep going to shake it off. You know, it's like the trick is not to get caught in that trap.
Well, that's the thing, is get caught.
But you don't learn that for a while. You know.
Yeah, that is a tough thing to like learn.
And I would have to drive home after, because I was driving to these gigs, so I would have to drive home after a lousy set in a bar. You know, I haven't figured out that, you know, a statement of fact is not a personal shortcoming. You know,
right.
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't get the attention of these drunks during the playoffs at a bar in Connecticut. It's my fault. I suck. You know. But you don't know that, so I'm trying to make the toll taker laugh. $6. Dogs are funny, you know. Just trying to shake it off somehow.
Oh God, I was, you know, you talk about football. I was in Daytona Beach at this shit room, and it was impossible to see the stage, so they had TVs and then a big screen behind you, right? The guy was from Mass, right? And the fucking the Patriots were in the playoffs, right? The game was on. I'm about to go up on stage. He goes, look, Pats are in the fucking playoffs, bro. I'm not turning off the football game for anybody. It's like nobody can see. So I had to go up and do stand-up while the football game was being played on every single TV, and people would just like cheer immediately in a setup because fucking Patriots go. You're just like, really, dude? Really?
Why are we
like
having this show?
Yeah, then just pay me my money and let me go back to my room. Because this makes zero sense of what you're doing.
Or at that point, I would have been like, give me half. And I'll go back.
Let's call this a night.
Yeah, let's call it even. You save half. I'll take home half. Let's get out of here.
I did one of the bar gigs I did. There was a Papa Shot basketball game, the little next to the stage, and the guy didn't turn it off. Halfway through my set, I put the mics in the stand, and I went up and I started playing defense. And I said, "Fuck it," and
blocking shots.
Those I never did. I grew up in Jersey, but I moved out here basically my whole adult life. So I started stand up out here. So I never really worked. I did stand up New York and Carolines and all that stuff, but I never really got into the New York bar scene. I did my bar scene out here in Pacific Northwest. But I just got to figure that was just 10 times more intense than a Pacific Northwest bar gig, just from growing up in New Jersey. Just from knowing the intense people I grew up with, and the Long Islanders I knew.
I am that person, so I know what that's like. You know, I'm gonna bring that energy to Pacific Northwest. I go, hey, you guys are damped and caffeined up. I'm just you're gonna be who you are in that environment. But it's definitely more aggressive.
I think it's
more dismissive. I think
dismissive.
Well, dismissive where you got in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is aggressive.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Tennessee, but I did high school and junior high all through Jersey. So I was never really a Jersey. I don't have that Jersey aggressive thing going. So I think
Well, the nice thing about growing up on the East Coast in New York, where I'm from, and being in that environment, but you're never going to look at those people and go, I wonder what's on their mind. They're going to fucking tell you.
Yeah. Well, here everybody wears a smile, but you rip that skin off and everybody's ready to snap and
everyone's
fucking
gonna
half.
snap at any minute.
Yeah.
They're all full of shit.
That's why I like it. Just like you've got two of the biggest comedy cities in the world between LA and New York, and I find them so like polar opposite in how they kind of run and everything.
Yeah.
In a sense of like, I never thought I'd see ageism in stand-up comedy, and it does exist out here. Which I find
Everything
is
that all exists out. It's show business.
well, show business. That's
Out
the thing,
here-
and that's like
out
you
here,
have to
the
understand
comedy
it's show
scene out here
business.
is fucking show business. It's under that umbrella. Comedy scene in there, it's still show, but it's more comedy. It's still
comedy based.
It's a little more. This is why we've come here. When I first came out here, I was a comic. When I came out with a TV deal, but I was a comic.
And how long ago was that, if you don't mind?
I came out in '93.
Oh wow! So like 5 years after you started, you were out in LA.
So I got a TV deal, and I moved out here. And there was a bunch of fucking actors who had their 6 minutes because we were hot. Comics were hot.
Oh,
We
yeah,
got a
totally.
TV deal. So I was like, I don't remember seeing this guy on the road. I don't. He's too fucking handsome to be a comic. What's wrong with his life? But they were actors that were just putting together to get noticed. And when back in Long Island, I mean, now it's the YouTube people that sell out a comedy club, but they don't have an act.
Right.
When I was starting, it was the soap opera people.
Really? We're doing stand-up?
Walt Willie was a soap opera
He
dude.
still does it.
He does, yeah, but he doesn't have an act. He never had an act when he started.
I have never heard this in my life.
The soap opera guys figured out they could sell out a comedy club, and the comedy club guys were willing to have it. So I
Sure,
would
of
get a
course.
call and say, listen, you want to open for Walt Willie? Yeah, okay, because you're going to get a packed room. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Do 45. Why? Because he doesn't have an act. He goes up for 5 minutes. They go crazy. He tells one story that's not funny. They realize there's nothing there, and then he signs pictures.
Oh, wow.
But he'll sell out because
of
they'll
course.
come to see him.
And that's what YouTube is doing right now. I've said this before. I got bumped by a girl who plays dirty songs on the ukulele. She's 23 years old.
Yes.
And she'll pack out
I've seen her.
the Irvine once. I haven't seen her back there, and I don't know who she is, and maybe she's hilarious. I don't know, but she's 23 and writes dirty songs on a ukulele. I got bumped once. I haven't seen her back since.
Well, basically, the art form, I don't think it's not really respect. We're talking mimes, pretty much. We're strippers with our clothes on.
Right.
It's like this is the arena you can go to.
Yeah.
We're emotional strippers. Here's my pain. Give me a dollar.
You have some of your pain too. Let's do this.
I love a
There's
hilarious
always
stripper.
been that thing of people jumping into the club. Like just like 5 years ago, you started seeing anybody that came from improv start jumping into the stand-up scene. And I'm like, you guys got to be careful because you're going to sell out. And if you don't have a solid hour, you're not gonna come back because everybody's gonna come see you. You're not gonna be any good because you can't get good at this in a year, even though you come from that background. And you're gonna see. And I was like, it was a weird thing. It just like it all exploded. And next thing you know, I started getting calls from clubs like, "Hey, Ian, can you come in because we might have to switch you?" I'm like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "So and so from SNL is." I'm just like, "What? Why?" And then going and just watching
I know who
the
that
train
so and
wreck.
so is.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We talked about it. And it's just like, and it just became a train wreck show. And the way they had to run the show became weird. And then people are like yelling at me at the end of the show, being like, "That guy sucked." And I'm like, "Look, you walk into a club and spend $50 to see this dude. You saw him. What more do you want? Did you look like this guy's your favorite stand-up comic? No, because you know he doesn't do stand-up. We're a celebrity culture. You saw the celebrity.
They don't know.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't think
You
they know.
They don't know. It's like when I
You think it's basically a hose job?
No, it's not a
no.
whole job. They just know, okay, he'll be funny. They know
Yeah.
him. They want to go. Like, people come to see me. I have the people that know me from stand-up come, and they're hardcore fans, and I love to see them. They still, like, we've had your special when you had your mullet, your long hair, And I love that they're still coming to see me. But I get people that come see me from Top Gear and Nurse Jackie, and they're like, I didn't know you were stand-up. I was like, what did you think was going to happen? I was going to do burnouts in the parking lot? What did you think?
Drop a transmission?
I said, thank you
your
for
oil?
trusting me and coming. But they go, you're really funny. We didn't even know you were stand-up. I mean, it's nice to have that.
Well, that's a nice thing is your background is stand-up. So like when you compile it, and I think that's what like a lot of people do is like get good at stand-up, go get your shit on TV or whatever, and then when they come to see you, you've got that thing.
You don't even need TV, man. The map has changed. It used to be, and this changed with me too, because it used to be the older guys. would tell me, "Oh, you do a Tonight Show. You used to get a career." No, now I did a Tonight Show. I did Letterman, and I'm like, okay, it's Monday, get back up on the horse.
Right.
The big break ain't happening.
Stare at your phone.
It's like you don't even need TV. It's like you're on TV. People see you. It's so diluted. Our craft is so diluted because the places we go it's primarily a business. So if you can sell that night out, you will. There's a show there. It says Comedy Club. You infer that it's going to be funny, but it could be an actor. It could be a YouTube person. It could be whoever it is. But it's like it's still a business first. So they got to put asses in the seats.
I remember when I first started out, John Mendoza just said, put the Tonight Show on your resume. Nobody's going to check. Who cares?
I remember when I started in all these C rooms, and there'd be weekend rooms in some shit hotel, and I'd trying to push for headliner, and they'd be like, "Where's your TV credit?" I'm like, "I need a TV credit to play this shithole that pays $150."
They need to put it on the fucking poster.
Yeah, it's just put down whatever. Put down NBC. Just put down a network. That's what I would do. I've seen on CBS and Fox.
Yeah.
Here you go. Have fun. Nobody, you know what I mean?
Oscar winner.
Yeah. I always like when those actors turned comedian. I always like when their intro is, you've seen him on NCIS Miami. Oh, he must be hilarious.
He's got to be good. This guy knows his way around a fake crime scene.
No offense. I love you, Law and Order.
Thank you. You might remember him from Das Boot.
That's a hardcore German submarine operator. But.
What's your favorite place to play? What area? What area of this country?
I do like the Pacific Northwest. I do like that. But I love New York because I was talking before we turned the mics on, before I had no intro.
I'm sorry. Let me pull my own string, chatty Cathy doll.
But we talk about L.A. and New York. I'm a better comic in New York because there's more stage time.
Oh, yeah.
There's more stage time and there's more to draw from. There's more inspiration and there's more energy. It's like I'll go down to the cellar on a weeknight. You get 20 minutes.
Sure, really, 20 minutes on a weeknight?
15. It used to be when I was there. It's 15.
I'm still.
10, 15. But even the weekend spots are cut down. It's so even if you're working on something, it's not like I'm doing a full 45 to an hour on the road where I can. Right. Build the hammock spot where I'll get them on my side. I'll introduce the idea and then I'll play for 5 minutes before the check spot comes out, and then I got to bring them. You got to bang. So it makes the material for me. It makes it work better because it's got to be good quick. Because I'll get a minute or two to warm them up, then steer them where I want them to go. Try the new bit and then get a way out. Yeah. If I'm only doing that in the city, so the process becomes quicker.
Yeah.
So I always feel like I write more in New York because my stuff isn't set up segue punchline. There's act outs in it, and it's kind of animated. So the ideas grow. I would start. I remember when I was a kid, I'd go into the city and I would start on the Upper West Side. I would park my car on 72nd and Broadway was stand up New York.
Yeah.
And I would start on the Upper West Side, and I would start there and work my way down to the cellar. But I would leave the car. Because I'd take a cab because it was quicker because I had to park it. So I'd leave the car and I would just cab my way down, stop at Caroline's. I would stop at Gotham when Gotham was on 22nd, and then head my way down to the cellar, go to the Boston Comedy Club in the cellar, and I would have the framework of a bit by the time I finished it.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So cool.
So but you get 4 or 5 spots that way. Oh, okay, great.
Well, that's the good thing about New York as opposed to here is I said this before. I got a spot at the Ice House one night and a spot at the Melrose Improv. 3 years ago, I'm still talking about it. It's just getting more than one spot in town.
Yeah, well, that was
And understand that those 2 spots round trip to get from your house to Pasadena to the Melrose and back to your place is a good 6, 7. It's a day trip. Basically.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you're getting home at 1, even though you left at 5.
Right. How many? Who holds the record in New York for most spots?
I don't even know.
Steve Byrne, isn't it? He went up there and did a documentary about it.
Oh, he did? Oh, wow.
Yeah, somebody had done it was well over a dozen.
Really?
He had done, and then he went and shot a documentary about going and breaking the record, because I think Byrne started there, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that, but so he went and shot a whole documentary about doing 13, 14, 15 shows.
I remember when Jerry was shooting the comedian movie. He bumped me 3 times in 1 week.
Really?
Bumped me twice at the cellar and then bumped me at Gotham. And I remember he said, "Adam, I'm sorry." I said, "This fucking movie better be funny." Because right now it's pissing me off.
Just bumped you off for the night?
No. Just he went up and he would shoot, and it was cool because I remember the cameras were small. I remember talking to the camera guys. Going, "That's so cool."
So they could come in, set up real quick. He'd go up.
It wouldn't set up. The guys walked in and they would hold it.
Really?
It was still documentaries.
Yeah, it was all that stuff. But it was. But yeah. So when in answer to your question, it's it's the city, New York City. I write like a better comic, and I admit I get lazy when I'm home because I don't have to. I can just talk to these people because I know that I can talk about Dairy Barn,
right,
which is a drive-through fucking deli, and making everyone's had that experience, so I can mine that. Sometimes I'll do a little sleight of hand, like I'll get a joke that might fit in there, and I'll put it in the context of Dairy Barn just to see if I could make that little scene I'm playing out work and see if that joke works. And then sometimes it's like a host organ. Right. You see if I can get that to grow. So I do that a lot. I'll get a host organ idea and then I'll take a joke out of it and see where I want to fit it. And that's a nice little trick to have to create something.
Oh, and by Ian's from Florida, so a Dairy Mart, is that what they're called?
Dairy Barn.
Dairy Barn. They're like a drive-through liquor store.
You don't have to get out of your car.
They're a drive-through.
That's how lazy people are. It was a red
I'm glad they didn't have those in Florida, by the way, because that's the last thing I needed.
A red barn, you would drive through and tell them what you wanted. They'd bring it into your car, and then you would pay for it. They would tell you the total, and you would yell out. You would yell it out like, it's $14.96 out of 20. So they didn't have to go back to make the change. And they would bring that back to you. And you were a kid and you always wanted the cookies and you can get cigarettes and booze and you don't have to get out of your car. But it's like that. I mean, I could talk about that. I could talk about like, the old amusement park that we went through that everybody knows. Your local stuff. So when I come home, I can do that.
Right.
But so I like working there. I like San Francisco. I always get a good vibe. Chicago's great. I love working Chicago. The Improv in Chicago is one of my favorites.
It's one of my favorite clubs.
Yeah.
I love Tony great. Clubs. Tony's awesome. I love Tony. I sat up with him and
Florida too. The Improv. My friends on the radio, Paul and Ron on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Wait, which Florida Improv?
I liked the Lauderdale Improv is great. The Hard Rock.
I was there last month, man. We had 120 people talking in the back.
I didn't say it was easy. I said it was.
That is not an easy room. Renee is.
It's not easy, but the people are so nice, and once you get them,
they're so cool
to crack them.
Yeah,
that's one of the things about to command their attention. That's the one thing that I'm playing with now. When I do the next special, there's the emotional parts of it. So I got to beat the and it's built. The rhythm of it is built where I'm beating you up for 20 minutes. And I know I'm beating you up. I'm not going to let you breathe for 20 minutes because I want you to rest when I want you to pay attention.
Right. Oh, right.
So the meter is for 20 minutes. And then it slows down. It doesn't stop. It slows down. And then before they know it, I'm talking. My dad's saying goodbye because he's in a hospital room. He knows he's going to die. And I do that piece. Then I build that tension. I release him. And then I got to bring him right out of it again. So it's built that way. So
it's like it's built on trust.
That's the first 5 minutes. Rob Bartlett, who is a comic who was on Imus in the Morning for years, and I was in his first improv group, and he told me something I still remember to this day. He goes, in your first few jokes, don't get them to laugh. Get them to trust you. That's what you need them to do. Once they trust you, you can take them any way you want to fucking go.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I've always played the get them to trust you with a laugh.
Well, no, I'm saying I didn't mean like don't focus on.
Don't focus
on just getting the laugh. Make the laugh have trust in that.
Yes.
It's not. I'm not saying go up there and go. Listen, I'll lend you money. No, I'm just saying. Don't look for the laugh. Look for the trust. I'll keep your secret. No, but that's what I meant.
I agree 100%. That's like the guys who go up there and just. I've seen so many people launch into material like straight off the bat in a ruckus room like Fort Lauderdale and just start into material.
Come in with that high energy, and it's usually, I know what you're thinking. Oh, here's a premise. I look like, it's,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But those rooms down there when Renee built that big room, I remember when I was like, right before they built it, I was like middling a lot and loving it. Mm-hmm. And then when she started.
You were in the hammock. You got
exactly in the hammock. It was beautiful.
Yeah. No
then
check spot.
And
then she started bringing me in for when they had like corporate and or Sunday shows. Mm-hmm. My God, I worked my ass off on those because it was just like, especially in that room where they're used to seeing fucking monster names and shit too. Yeah. And I'm some schlub in a fucking dress shirt that hardly fits me properly. It's just like, you're like, oh, okay, so this room isn't going to just, because it's an improv, like I'm going to go up here and just hammer it because they're just going to hand me the.
No, you got
to.
Helium's a good room too in Philly. I like Helium a lot.
I love Helium in Philly.
They're building that brand all over the country.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever do the Miami Improv?
I did it when it used to be at the at the movie theater when it was upstairs.
Oh, I don't know that.
I did it when it was
wow.
upstairs. First time I go to Miami, Elian Gonzalez. So there's my first 10 minutes.
Right.
Second time I go there, they shot Versace. Okay, there's my next 10 minutes. Then they asked me if I want to come back. I go, shit always happens when I come see you guys.
Yeah.
Then they moved it to Coconut Grove, where you come out from behind the wall. You come out through the wall.
Yeah.
And that's the last time I did it, but that was years ago.
You ever find getting in trouble down there?
No, I never really did anything. I'll tell you when I got in trouble for doing a joke. I forget where I was. I might have been. It wasn't Villanova. They got mad at me too. The Catholics get mad at me.
Oh,
Villanova.
Well, a good Italian
I
boy.
played Villanova and they got mad because they put me on stage. For some reason, I was on a stage and there was a giant Catholic cross. There was a giant cross behind the stage. So whoever was opening up on the radio guy, whoever brought me. I said, "Thank you so much." I looked at the cross and I just said, "You guys have a huge vampire problem." So a bunch of people in the back get out and walk. I got in trouble
Ian
for
and I really appreciate that joke.
Yes.
I got in trouble.
We're big
for
religion guys.
The Joe Paterno joke.
The what?
I got in trouble for a Joe Paterno joke.
Oh, what is that?
People thought when they took his statue down, people thought that they were outraged because they thought Joe Paterno was a saint. He turned his back on the molestation of children. That doesn't make you a saint. That makes you a pope.
Great joke.
There goes the other back row. Yeah. So wait, you said before you got on the Catholic thing, you got in trouble where? You said you were going to bring...
I know those jokes got me in trouble. I forget what the fuck I was. But
Okay.
But I'm trying to think where I was. I don't know. I'm not in fist fights like the guy to my left.
I know. Don't bring it up. He gets really touchy about it.
I don't, and that's the thing. It's just like I don't want anybody thinking like I'm just some like instigator on stage or anything. I'm not.
Here's the thing. Ian is the most goofy. Like, first of all, he's very intimidating looking.
That's what I'm saying.
But
you really got to piss somebody off. You're over 6 feet.
But he's goofy on stage. He usually wears a T-shirt with Kermit the Frog on it. He did a joke about a chicken farting out eggs onto a plate for breakfast. Like, goofy stuff.
Goofy shit.
So, like, the fact that he gets into fights is hilarious.
Yeah.
We have a question that we ask everybody on here when they come on here. Actually, two. The first one is, have you ever had anything thrown at you?
No.
Really?
Wow.
You might be the
No, ice. Someone threw ice at me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, ice at a bar in Connecticut. I'm going to say, it had the word, I forget. Yeah, I had ice. Ice, yeah.
What set him off?
Connect?
I don't remember. I just remember, like, is that
Apparently
fucking ice? I remember I was like, really?
Apparently a Catholic joke.
Yeah. No, that could have been it. Joker's Wild was the name of the club in Connecticut. It was like a barish kind of club, but ice flew at me on Friday night. Yes, so I'm going to go with yes.
All right, go with ice. Ice is good.
Yeah.
Ice is good. And the other one, and a listener asked if we would ask this question more, is what is the first time you remember making somebody laugh?
I don't remember, but I remember my family talking about it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was a baby, and I was staying. I don't know where my parents were going, but my Uncle Frank, my godfather, was watching me.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Frank and my Aunt Mary were watching me, and they put me in the car seat. And they tell the story. They looked in the mirror, and I was in the back of the car seat, and they go, "Adam, what's in your mouth?" And I went, "My teeth." And that was the Thanksgiving story,
For the next 20 years.
Yeah, before they got drunk. That was it. And they go, we laughed. Okay, fine.
We knew.
Yeah.
We knew
We
right
knew
then. We knew then.
Yeah. So
Did we get a house? No.
I never got that laugh, but I knew that I don't recall
Sure, of
getting it,
course.
but I knew that was the first time.
Awesome.
But I remember it was a coveted thing in my neighborhood to make the other guy laugh, to make people laugh, because we didn't have anything. We just hang out,
Yeah.
and watch TV, listen to radio, and just make each other laugh.
Yeah.
But when I realized I could do it, I realized because my father was my hero. He was like, but he would always come home when he's working his ass off and just trying to put food on the table and keep the fucking lights on and take care of everybody. And you could see the stress. My mother too. My mother worked together. Stress and the tension. And when I made him laugh, it went away.
Right.
So I saw him smile, and my father had a laugh that would fill a room. I mean, he was this big guy, and everyone loved him. So when he laughed, it was infectious. So I don't know if I consciously was aware of this is what I can do, but I'm like, oh, this is how I can contribute. I can try and take that away from him.
Right.
I just knew it felt good to make him laugh.
Oh, awesome. That's a great story. I like that. I just realized, I apologize. I left I just got braces 6 months ago, so I'm still getting used to
Okay.
it. But I left my
fucking love
elastics
them.
in, so
How is
I've been
puberty?
slurring the whole time. I apologize.
love it.
I'm not
Okay,
drunk.
yeah.
I'm not
You're smashed. You
I'm so glad. The
tell
only
about
thing
the fifth of bourbon you're hitting?
I'm just waiting for him to buy his
scotch. Come on, Ferrara.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for
He
Murray
likes
to
the smokiness. Bring the Lagavulin.
I'm waiting for him to get like the schoolgirl outfit that goes with those braces.
I know,
you know what I'm saying? That's,
I apologize. I only have one high sock.
Here's the funny thing. I bought clippers and convinced my wife to cut my hair. So now my wife cuts my hair and I have braces. I'm like a 9-year-old.
You are. You are. That's right. She cuts your hair now?
Bib, yeah.
You bought clippers and said, babe, I want you to start.
Listen, I watched the woman cut my hair for 20 years.
Right.
I paid her the same amount. And I'm like, if I buy clippers for $45, this thing will pay for itself in 2 haircuts.
Wow.
And so I bought them. I gave my wife the instructions. I'm like, read this over. Next Monday, you're cutting my hair. And she did it. She loves it. And it's fine. You can't fuck this up.
It's true. It's gorgeous hair.
Difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut?
$40?
About a week.
About a week.
All right. Before we get out of here, off the top of your head, your worst gig ever.
Worst gig ever. Opening for Mirror Stars, they called it, at UConn. It was a lip sync contest. And they were booing me and cheering everybody else. And I'm like, they're not doing anything. I'm the one actually trying to do something. It's not them singing. They hated me. Yeah. Opening for bands is bad too.
Yeah, that's a rough
I
one.
actually got away with. I opened for Lionel Richie at the Greek Theater.
Fuck
Here?
yeah.
Yeah, right here.
That's so cool.
I was
Lionel
a
Richie
kid.
Greek Theater.
I was a kid, and I remember I got a call, and I had just opened the night before for I forget, one of the Judds at a performing arts center.
Let's call it Winona.
the bigger one, the big girl, whatever.
Winona?
Jalisa?
I don't know. Chloe? I don't know. But I went. But she was born again, so she had to be clean. So I was a kid. I was clean. I did a half hour, and I went home, and I was drinking then too. So Saturday.
show?
Yeah, it was a performing arts set. Hi, that's all. Keep their attention.
Yeah.
It was nice. So I went home, and I had a couple of drinks, and I was sleeping, and the phone rang, and it was my agent. And I went, hello? It's Rick. What? He goes, you want to work tonight? I go, yeah. He goes, you want to open for Lionel Richie? I go, not especially. He goes, yes, you do. Because they just fired the comic they had.
Oh.
And they're scrambling to look for someone. Get a cup of coffee. The tour man's going to call you in 10 minutes. I said, okay. And I remember because it was during Clinton, because he did a Monica Lewinsky joke, and they wanted everything clean. So I guess he did a blowjob joke. I don't know who the comic was, but they fired him. So, and they called me up, and the tour manager was real nervous. He's like, oh, listen, you came recommended from our other manager who did Winona. Mm-hmm. I just want you to know the gig. And you could tell Lionel. He goes, but it's an older, clean audience. It's the Greek Theater. We just need you to do, 15 minutes just to keep their attention. I go, all right, look. Listen, I'll wear a suit. I'm cute. I'm young. I won't say fuck. Perfect. They always do this. And if it works out, we'll take you on the road.
Sure,
they're never taking you on the fucking road.
That's the whole
thing.
thing.
Not. That's the carrot they dangle in front of you. I knew it then. I go, who you bullshit?
Right.
Yeah, you're going to take me to Tuskegee when Lionel goes home? So I went, and I did it just to play the Greek Theater, because you knew you were going to suck. They don't want to. You're annoying them. They don't want to see you, But it was the Greek Theater, and how many times am I going to get that opportunity?
Right.
So I wanted to play the Greek. So the sun was setting. It was fucking beautiful. I went on stage. So there's no roof. It's an amphitheater, so you don't know if you're doing good. It's raining. There's 2 people with an umbrella. There's nobody there. And they're all waiting for Lionel to come in. So I went up. I did my set. I don't know how I did. I just got through it. I walk off stage. Sheila E. was in the band.
Oh, cool.
And the whole band was on the side of the stage. And one of this giant bass player looked at me and goes, you did great. Usually we stand here just to watch motherfuckers die.
What was that?
Hey, if you can make the band laugh, man.
Yeah.
You did
That's
a good
the
job.
best compliment you get. Make the band laugh. Whenever I did the Tonight Show, I looked over. I'm like, they laugh. I like that.
Who's the guy that sings Jesse's Girl?
Rick Springfield.
Okay, so Rick Springfield.
He punched you?
No, but this almost was going to be worse than a punch. I was working some fucking casino gig, and the next night I had done my show, and Rick Springfield was coming in that night. Mm-hmm. I get a call back at my hotel room. They're like, Ian, Rick's not going to make it. We need you to do the show. I'm like, for who? I'm like, for their audience.
Oh, God.
I'm like, you're sending me to a death sentence. They're like, we'll pay you $600. I'm like, I can do it. So I get there, and I'm eating my meal like it's I was eating like it was like my last meal. Because I knew what I was about to do. I'm like, it's going to be 80-year-old people being like, who the fuck is this guy? We don't know who he is, and he doesn't play music. Yeah, just like, yeah. 5 minutes. And I swear to God, they're like, okay, 10 minutes, we're starting the show. And I'm like, this is going to fucking suck. This is going to be awful. And then the doors break open and there's this glorious looking man, Rick Springfield, with hair. Just, whew, I'm like, thank God, dude, because I was so close to utter death. I go, there was no hope for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how funny I was, how good I was. The thing was, I was never going to be Rick Springfield. That's the only thing they knew.
Oh yeah,
I was doing.
By the way, you should never ever forget that guy's name again.
Yeah,
he saved your ass.
Jesse's girl saved your ass.
Jesse's girl.
Rick Springfield, you ungrateful piece.
You prick. Rick Springfield. Remember that tattoo that shit in your neck if you have to.
I did a casino. I did New Year's at a casino, and Tony Orlando was there the night before. So it's or he was there the night after. I'm having dinner. I had not done I had just done my show, and for some reason we were having. Oh, it was after the show. I was having dinner after the show in the restaurant. So you're in the steakhouse, you're sitting there. I'm there. My wife was there, and Richie Minervini, who owned the East Side Comedy Club and gave us all. He's the godfather of Long Island comedy, and I brought him. He opened for me, so we're all sitting there. Richie, me, and my wife were having dinner, and this guy in this Yankees hat keeps looking over at the table. Okay. My wife excuses herself, gets up, goes to the bathroom. I walk at the table. I go, Richie, I'm going to have to straighten this guy out. He's trying to pick up my fucking wife over here. He's like, schmuck, he's looking at you. That's Tony Orlando. You're both on the bill. He's getting your attention. He was just go over and say hello to the man, show your respect. I went, oh, fuck. I went over and I showed my respect to him. And my wife came back and everything. And I said, Mr. Oaks, you funny show. He was very kind to me, took a picture and everything.
Oh, nice.
And I said, Richie, and I was wrong. He was trying to pick up my wife. He's fucking idiot. He was looking at my wife's gorgeous. He was watching her. So,
Wow, who else did you open for? This is great. Music-wise.
The judge, there wasn't a lot. Those two I remember. Lionel Richie was like the big one.
Yeah.
Did you meet him?
Because it was no, you couldn't meet. I'll tell you what happens. Like he walked by and they I didn't know you weren't supposed to talk to him. He's one of those guys. And I remember when I was back and I was just hanging around backstage. He was walking on stage, and as he walked by, I just went, "Hello." And they said, "No, you can't talk to him. You can't." So
probably because of that.
Yeah, probably because of that. Because I'm an idiot. I opened for who else did I open? I can't remember. Those are the two big ones.
Oh, you're not going to top that.
But that is the worst gig, is opening for bands.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they do that. They bring in comics because it's cheap setup. You don't have to worry about bringing
It's
other
cheap.
people.
There's no setup.
Cheap.
There's
You
no
just grab
cheap.
a
You
mic and
pay
off
them
you
and
go,
that's
right?
There's no competition.
Yeah.
There's
zero
no Foo
competition.
Fighters blowing the new band off stage. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, there's not. It's usually it's usually older acts too. You're not going to get. You know.
Although
Kanye's not bringing a comic.
Tool brought.
Stop it.
I'll have to have Greg Barrett tell the story when he's on here.
Really?
Greg Barrett. It was Greg, and I think David Cross were doing a sketch before Tool.
That's cool.
And
that's really cool.
He said it was just rained with beer cans and cups and lemons, and just for 15 minutes.
They don't want to see. You're annoying them.
Especially a band like Tool, where the lead singer goes out of his way to fuck with crowds and shit. Like he'll sing a whole concert with his back to the crowd. Like he does not give a shit. So like putting up a sketch comedy thing for him is just like, this is fucking
It's
perfect
not
for
even
my show.
stand-up. You have to pay attention instead of moving.
It's like
I can just see those
like a guy
guys
standing
up
just
there.
like the year.
We need a location and 2 occupations.
Give me a president and something you eat for dinner.
Look, the quicker we do this, the quicker you'll see Slipknot.
Sir.
All right, guy. Adam, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. It's
Good to see you, my friend.
You too, man. This is a long time coming, so I appreciate it.
Thanks for
and I
having
didn't
me on.
realize you lived so close. By the way, we're in the Mar Vista studios tonight. We're not recording in the All Things Comedy. This is why I keep this one going for the West Siders. Don't have to trek to the East Side.
The Mar Vista Studios, the Fly Room.
Yeah, the fly. There's
I
one
just take
fly in
Lincoln
here.
back home. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
There's one fly in here. It's driving me fucking crazy. I'm not going to sleep.
I don't know why I like having, I got a connection to houseflies when I was a kid, staying with my grandmother, always having houseflies around at the farm. So like now when there's houseflies in my house, I look at them like, pal, I'm like, oh, we've got 2 houseflies. Like I don't know why, but like I fucking dig it.
I'm going to punch you.
Yeah,
I know. I'm
This is
sorry.
why people
like I don't
smack you in
fucking.
It's a comfort thing for you.
It's like some weird thing that takes
I
me
get
back.
that with football because my father would watch. That's when he would cars and football because my father was always working on the cars.
Shit. So Top Gear is like a huge thing for you too.
Yeah, it was a big thing. That I have an emotional connection to cars because it reminds me of that. And football. There's listening to football. My father, he built our house, and he was he did kitchens and bathrooms is what he did. And he put the radiant heat in our basement. So that's when the football. So I would lay on we were like lizards on hot rocks, just laying on the heat with the football on. And that's the football season. I get calmer during football season.
That's awesome.
The
You got to
monsters
beat
really don't
Jets
come
all the
out.
way then.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do.
I know, but
Be the Jets
that's you
fan.
can tell Jets fans.
Yeah,
and I'm not even a football fan. but I
Not
can tell
easy. To
Where do the Jets play now? I'm not a.
They're
They're
at MetLife with the Giants. They're renting.
on at Meadowlands now, right?
Yeah, they're MetLife Stadium now.
Is it
Yeah.
not Giant
It used
Stadium
used to be
anymore?
the Meadowlands. It used to be the Meadowlands. Now it's called MetLife Stadium.
Oh, okay. So they're at Giant Giant Stadium.
It's blue.
Didn't they used to play at Shea though?
They played at Shea. That's when I was a kid in the second grade.
Okay.
I did a report on Joe Namath.
Okay.
And they played at Shea Stadium. So I was like, and then they moved. And then Shea Stadium was always like, it's French.
I remember going to concerts at Giant Stadium. Well, at Brendan Byrne Arena, which is across the street from Giant Stadium, and
See, Springsteen, he plays for 2 days.
Yeah, and all the jocks would just fucking throw rocks at us and beer cans and like faggots with your long hair. Go see the Grateful Dead, you quiz.
Yeah.
I just beat the crap out of us on the way.
I think
That's not Elvis. His last name ain't Costello.
I'm pretty sure that those guys still exist, yelling the same shit at fucking other kids
Oh,
that
yeah,
are going
totally.
to see.
They're just going to
It's
see
amazing.
Linkin Park.
Yeah, they just want to go see.
All right, Adam, where can we find you besides Top Gear?
At Adam Ferrara, Twitter, the Facebook,
Awesome.
all the usual places. Come by, say hello. Tour schedule's up there. Come and see me.
Excellent. We'll post the bit.
And it was Professor Eddie Freefeld. Forgive me, Eddie, for forgetting your
And
name.
we'll try to get Eddie Freefeld's names on there, and we'll put you a link to your site also. First off, Ian, thanks for sitting in the co-host seat.
Thank you.
I call you often, and you often say yes, so I appreciate it.
I love doing
Coming
it.
in and forwarding
You're a good
the
friend,
conversation.
Murray.
And Adam, we got to get together and have coffee since you're a neighbor.
I'd like that, my
sometime.
friend.
We got to get the whole. Let me see. We got Jake Johansson's right over there.
Oh, yeah? I did 2 drink minimum when Jake had that show. There was a
Wow, 2 drink minimum. I remember that show,
Remember that?
man.
He hosts 2 drinks minimum.
He hosted it, and I remember I did it with Lewis Black.
Okay.
Because I remember me and Lou were fucking around in the green room. Yeah, I always liked Jake. I did a shitty
fucking
movie
great comic.
with him.
You did shoot.
I did. It was a guy who shot a trailer to sell him. It was really he would shoot the trailer to sell the movie.
Yeah.
And he was in it. And I played some guy who lived in a basement. He was like the head. I remember Jake was in it. I don't think I had any scenes with him, but I remember.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a whole crew.
And I apologize for saying shitty movie. I did a movie.
Oh no,
trailer.
it was great.
What is this shit? I don't know what that means.
Who else? We got Havy in Santa Monica.
I see Havy.
Bobby Collins right up here.
Bobby.
About a mile north.
Bobby
of me.
Collins. What are you cutting your own hair?
What
Look
are
how
you
pretty you look, Murray. I'm going to have to cover up.
You know how we. That's what he always says.
You know how we. I'm from New
comics.
York.
You know
how we are.
There's one thing that used to kill me. He'd be like, he'd stand up on stage and his first words would be like, Puerto Ricans, what are you doing, huh? What are you guys doing? And I remember just like, who is this guy and what is he doing?
I worked with Bobby in Vegas last year. And
no shit.
Everybody knows Bobby Collins in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like dancers, we're Bobby, are you in town? You gonna come up after the show? And
I did a cruise ship. Me, Bob. I was a kid. It was me, Bobby. I'm going to say Rondell Sheridan and Bud Friedman. It was one of those improv cruises where Bud Alex, let's go on a cruise. I'll use the name.
Yeah.
So we all did it. And I remember Bobby, he might have just moved here or something, but he had a pool and there was those giant ropes. Giant ropes they used to tie the boats up.
Oh, right.
And he's like, this would look great by my pool. Adam, help me get this in a bag. I'm like, I'm not going to help you fucking steal shit from a port. What's
an 8-foot
Don't
diameter
you have any of
rope?
the certs money left? Buy a fucking rope.
All right, great. Adam, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I will talk to you soon, man. Thanks
care,
a lot.
pal.
Hey, come see both of these guys when they come to your town. They're very funny. Thanks for listening, guys.
You want to know about life on the road? It's
Booze, tacos, angry dwarfs, strippers waving guns, and fees, fights, canceled flights, running with the runs, and blacklists, bounce checks, great a bachelorette. Drunks in the front making out through your set, and middle acts doing blow more, missing merch, and drive the rental car past another mega church, and juice keys, vagina fist, your cell phone is gone. One big Law and Order marathon.